Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I've covered pretty much the basics. All the previous videos showcase all the fundamentals you need to understand to start building chatbots. So from here on out, we're going to do exercises. We are going to combine everything I've shown you and the things you've learned to build functional demos of agents or chatbots. So for this one, let's build a booking or appointment setting agent. But before we go ahead, a few reminders. When this is in a production setup or something live that's already on a website, chances are you need to set up some APIs or some back-end work to store the data somewhere to permanently store whatever information you collect or query, for example, available dates in this situation. We're going to skip all that for this one and just build some workarounds because I want to reserve all the back end, the API talk later because I still want to keep this simple for people who are perhaps very new to building chatbots. So, speaking of workarounds, let's start with the schedule. Again, this you would not do this if this was a live chatbot for whatever website you're working on. We're just doing this to keep it simple for now. So, if I created a Google Sheet where one column is the dates and then the second column is either if it's booked or not. And then I'm just going to download this into a PDF and we can use this as a knowledge base just for this demo. So let's upload the PDF as a knowledge base. Again, this is just a workaround. I'm going to keep saying that throughout the entire video. So let's upload the PDF. And there we go. We uploaded a PDF with the schedules, and that's good to go for now. Again, this is not important. This is just a demo. Next is variables. Let's make them now so we don't need to worry about them later. These variables are where we're going to store information we get from the user. So on the top right here, click new variable, and then you can name this whatever you want. You don't need to follow what I'm using, but I'm going to use var underscore and then first name. Create that, and then let's create another one. Let's call it var last name. Then create another one. Let's call it var email. And create another one, var number. No, phone number. Then finally var underscore date. So that should be good for now. So again, we're gonna keep this super simple. First name, last name, email, phone number, and date. So we're back in our designer tab and let's start building this agent. Let's start with welcome to the user, all the usual. So let's say, hi, welcome. How can I help you today? Then let's do buttons after that. We're just going to do two options. One would be book an appointment. Then let's add another one called need help. For the need help option, let's just add a text saying, what do you need help with? And let's connect that one. And then let's just add a button, an option to start over, which says go back to main menu. And then what this does is it just starts over. And let's just call this main menu. Sorry, main menu and help steps. For the book an appointment option, let's start collecting information. So let's start with the name. So let's say, sorry, you don't have, let's just use a text. What's your first name? Then let's capture the reply. And then let's store that into a variable that we created earlier and use the var underscore first name. And we want to store what the user said. And then let's name this capture first name. Let's just duplicate this one and let's call it capture last name. Let's modify the text. What's your last name? Then capture the reply, but then we'll store it in the variable we created earlier, last name. So I'm going to repeat this process for all the variables we need to collect and created earlier, the email, the phone number. So there I've set up steps for each of the information we want to collect: the first name, the last name, email, and phone number. Next one would be the date. Ideally, you would want to show the user a date picker, a visual calendar basically where they could just select their dates. But again, because this is just a basics exercise, we just want to combine what we learned in the past videos before. We're just going to ask for a date by asking the user to type out the date. So for that, let's add, well, we can just duplicate this one, another one of these, and then let's move it over here and duplicate it. Let's call it capture date. Then let's just say, when shall I schedule your appointment? Then we will store this in the variable we created again earlier. We prepared all this variable at the start of the video. Let's store it in var underscore date. So before we proceed, let's make sure everything's connected. So when they click the button, let's start here. Then after we set the variable, let's say go to the next one, which is capture last name. After we capture the last name, let's again proceed to the next block. Capture email. After we capture the email, let's proceed to the next block again. Capture phone. And after the phone, let's go to capturing the date. Now, if we're talking just the absolute bare bones, that's pretty much it. You just then put all the variables you collected and send it over to whatever database you have via an API. But again, we're not going to do that for now. But what we want to do is check if the date is available. Now, in order to do the checks, what we're going to do for this exercise is just use the knowledge base we've uploaded using the Google Sheets we made earlier, and we'll query that PDF by using AI. So what I want to use for this one is set AI, because my plan is I will tell the AI to check the PDF. Is this date free? If it's free, set a variable 1. And then if it's not free, set variable into equals 2, for example. And then we can go from there with the response. So let's just call this check date. Then our data source would be the knowledge base. And then let's just prompt the AI to check for that date. So let's prompt AI to go ahead and check. So check the knowledge base if var date is free. Then we need to add additional parameters. If var date is free, then set variable equals 1. If var date is not free, then set variable equals 2. And then off camera, I created an extra variable just to store the result of this checking, var underscore avail. So let's store that there. So what's happening is I'm telling the AI, hey, check the date the user's given us. If it's free, set var underscore avail equals to 1. And then if it's not free, set var underscore avail equals 2. So we've now created a step where its job is to simply check if the date is available for an appointment. So let's just call this availability checker. So after we capture the date, let's go to our availability checker. So let's go to block and let's go to availability checker. So remember, this checker will result in either a value of a 1 or value of a 2. We can then use those numbers as a switch for logic so we can then choose what to reply. So let's add a logic condition and then let's connect that over and let's just call this date check result. And then let's add two conditions. One is if the variable, which we're using var avail, is equal to 1, let's call that date available. Let's add another condition where the variable var avail, sorry, not var email, but var avail is equal to 2. Let's call that date not available. Now that we have our conditions, let's set up our responses. So for not available, let's say, unfortunately, let's put the variable and then the date is fully booked. Please select another date. So after that, we can then just loop back to here. So let's add an action, go to block, and let's go back to our capture date. So what this simply does, hey, it's not available. Let's select another date. And then it will check it again. So it's going to go into a loop until we find a date that is available. If the date is available, we can say, great news, we can book you in for, then let's enter the date. Would you like to confirm? Question mark. And then for the options, let's just do buttons to simplify. One for yes, and then let's add a button for no, select another date, just in case they change their mind and they have an option. For this one, the action for this one, if they click it, let's just loop back to our capture step. So select another date, actions, go to block, and capture date again so it can enter the loop once more. And then if they say yes, then let's just confirm it. Your appointment has been booked successfully. Then let's just show them the details. So name, let's call in our variable first name and then variable last name, then email, var email, and phone, var um, phone number. Your appointment date. No, let's just move that up. Let's just say your appointment has been booked successfully for, and then let's add the date here. Done. So time to try all of this out, see if it works. So let's hit play and run our test. So let's first test the need help. So click need help. It will go here. What do you need help with? And then we can go back to the main menu. Let's try booking an appointment. Book an appointment. What's your first name? John. What's your last name? Doe. Email john@gmail.com. Phone number 123456. And then let's try picking a date that is already booked based on the document we created at the start of the video. So let's choose April 2. It's going to check for the date. And it's going to say, unfortunately, April 2 is fully booked. Please select another date. Let's try picking a later date that is free. So let's try April 25. Great news, we can book you in for April 25. You'd like to confirm. If you say yes, there we go. Your appointment has been booked successfully for April 25. Here's our details we entered. And yeah, that's it. It works. So yeah, that's how it would work. If this is a production version, a final version, what would happen after the user confirms the booking is you'll use an API to pass all this information to whatever database you have, and then you can schedule the bookings from there. Also, the part where we used AI to check a PDF. That's not how you're going to do it. This is just for the exercise, for the point of this video. The way you would do that is probably through an API, check your available schedules, check your available dates, but it would be similar from there. The API would likely return a flag where it says it's booked or not booked, and then you can still do the conditional logic we did here. So yeah, we now have here a pretty bare bones, pretty basic, but functioning booking agent. If you have questions, do leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. And also, if you found this helpful, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future tutorials. That's it for this one. Thank you for watching. See you next time.